Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. My name is Chris Rochester. I live in Rochester, New York. I'm an innocent man. I've been an innocent man my whole life. And I have been in jail 6 times. And 6 times a prosecutor has not talked in court. I've delivered the Freedom of Information Law to you, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, for 18 plus months. And you've refused to disclose the names of my prosecutor's silence, which is what I'm going to tell the Department of Justice soon. So your office received, or will receive, on Monday, these documents I'm holding here in my hand. This says, February 10, 2023, Sandra Dorley, District Attorney, 47 South Fitzhugh, Rochester, New York, Sheriff Todd Baxter, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14604. Print the PDF attachments, read the PDF attachments, resign. It says print the PDF attachments, read the PDF attachments. I sent this to you on my Proton mail account. So Perry Duckles, who I believe is the de facto district attorney, I sent it to you. Print out every single one of those Freedom of Information Law documents to send me information. You're deciding the information you want to send to me. You're not complying. You should comply with every single Freedom of Information Law. And, Sheriff Baxter, I'm going to read a Freedom of Information Law document you did comply with. For Korey Brown and Michael Fowler. Where were Korey Brown and Michael Fowler, Sheriff Baxter? In Saratoga, New York, which I've been to numerous times since I lived in Albany County for 10 years. I've been to the track more than 100 times because I lived in Albany County. Todd Baxter, what are your employees doing in Saratoga, New York? Todd Baxter. This is why you're a joke. This is why you're a disgrace. This is why you're corrupt. So, February 10th, it says silence and violence. The silence of the district attorney's office is delivering me to jail. I'm being violently attacked by your fellow sociopaths, Todd Baxter, over and over and over, like Richard J. Seaman at the Penfield Public Library, which I've talked about. So what you're going to sign for here is what you receive, I should say. It's UPS. UPS is different than United States Department of Veterans Affairs because Robert has helped me lead, finally, a normal life. These are emails here from my Proton mail account. Chichester98 Proton.me. This is going to be a Proton mail account. This is everybody here at Psychopaths Incorporated. It says the blue wall silence information at District Attorney Sandra Dorley and Todd Baxter. You know why it's the blue wall silence, Sheriff Todd Baxter? You're the blue wall silence. You're the most ridiculous, predictable cop cliche. Because your fellow sociopaths are violently attacking me. And it does not matter to you that your fellow sociopaths are exacting violence upon me. Not only Richard J. Seaman at the Penfield Public Library. Call your female employee with Marine-style haircut and tattoos into your office and answer this question. Did you see a citizen attacked at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans by a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee? Because the honest answer is yes. And there are 10 other Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees that saw this because there were 10 standing above me with your 5 vehicles. This is why you're a psychopath. 5 vehicles reached me at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. One Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee exited his vehicle, ran at me, lowered his shoulder, drove his shoulder into the side of my hip, knocked me down, and my head slammed down on the concrete pavement outside the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans. So if you call your female employee with Marine-style haircut and tattoos in your office and ask her, did you see a citizen violently attacked at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans at 2157 Penfield Road? You know what she's going to say? She didn't say anything because she's the blue wall silence. Just like you, Todd Baxter, the blue wall silence. Every single employee here, as I hold this up, is the blue wall silence. The other YouTube is information, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter. This is it. I put the cover letter on there. It's the same one, information. See? Well, I'm demanding information here. This is the Gmail printed out. The PDF was attached here. You also have this. I'm telling Regina Harper, Mark Phillips of the Monroe County Public Defender's Office what I think about them. My own public defenders will not tell me the names of my prosecutors, even though I've been delivered to jail 6 times where prosecutors never talked in court. I've never been defended in court. The job of Mark Phillips and Regina Harper is just to come to the jail and fill out a piece of paper, and I'm released. Mark and Regina, I'm going to contact you and the public defender about what's happened to me. And what I'm going to demand from you and what you will refuse is the names of my prosecutors and silence. What is wrong with you, Mark Phillips and Regina Harper? Because as I've said previously, and I'll never waver from now, I've lost total and complete respect from you. For you. What are the names of my prosecutors? Regina Harper, Mark Phillips. Psychopaths Inc., Sheriff Todd, Baxter, District Attorney Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, who made the decision at the District Attorney's Office to force me into Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, but you know you don't have to talk, and he knows you don't have to talk. Who did that to me? And the reason why I'm demanding the names of these prosecutors silence is I'll seek the disbarment with the Attorney Grievance Committee on East Avenue, wherever else it can be done, including your disbarment, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, and that's not ludicrous. You are unleashing your disgusting, sick, vile District Attorney's Office on me that I view the same way as I did the Mafia and the Gambino crime family headed by John Gotti in the 1980s. Because on Long Island, there are channels 2, 4, and 7. And in the 1980s, when John Gotti was at the height of his criminal rampage in the city, there would be constantly stories on the news about John Gotti and Sammy Gravano, the execution of Paul Gastelano outside of Sparks Steakhouse in 1985. This was on the news all the time in the 80s and in the early 90s. The Mafia. That's how I view you at the District Attorney's Office. Just like the Mafia. So, this is a February 2nd again, Psychopaths Inc. I call it. You will never know you're psychopaths. Prosecutors talk to court. An assistant district attorney that watches a defendant in the courtroom delivered to jail and that prosecutor doesn't talk to court, that's a psychopath. This is for Lisa Gray. Lisa Gray here for Perry Duckles at Monroe County District Attorney's Office. I'm telling you, Perry Duckles and Lisa Gray, if you watch this, disclose the names of my prosecutors. And you'll refuse. The counsel to the district attorney, Lisa Gray, will look at this, blow it off, won't care. I'll never know who watches me. But she can open this because it's sent to her and look at it and see her name. And then she can go to YouTube, type her name in the search box, and she can watch me talking to her. What I'm saying to Lisa Gray, the counsel to the district attorney, to tell me the names of my prosecutors. She'll refuse, and that's why Lisa Gray's corrupt. Perjurer, 73,312, Michael C. Lynn, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I'm not going to talk about that because that'll take 10, 15 minutes. But you can watch it. He hit on the private property of my 72 neighbor and lied about me swinging a hammer at him. Violence, Sheriff Todd gave Baxter $75,000, $904, Richard J. Seaman. These two should be fired immediately. Richard J. Seaman and Michael C. Hulan. Because they're going to violate civil and constitutional rights of other citizens. You shouldn't fire them because you care about innocent citizens being attacked, which, like Richard J. Seaman did to me, or lying under oath like Michael C. Hulan did to the grand jury convened to Michelle Crouch. You don't give a damn about that. That doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter to you, Todd Baxter, that your own employees commit crimes, your own employees are psychopaths. The crime itself. The reason why I should fire them is they will continue to behave this way and commit criminal actions. Michael Houlihan lied under oath. That's a crime. Richard J. Seaman attacked me at the Penfield Public Library. That's a crime. And if you do not fire Michael Houlihan, if you do not fire Richard J. Seaman, they will continue to commit crimes under your leadership at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, where you have employees like Korey Brown and Michael Fowler paid more money than you. And these are the public employee salaries. I read every public employee salary. And I'm also demanding the cost of overtime, time and a half. How you pay your public employees when the 41st hour is reached. Here's the link here. Public employee salaries disclosed, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Public employee salaries disclosed, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. This is January 26th. Fanaticism, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, Perjurer, 73,312, Michael C. Lulan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, YouTube violence, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, $75,904, Richard J. Seaman, rejection, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, YouTube accountability, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi. You're going to look at this and refuse to comply with all that information here. January 26th, comply with the attached PDF dated January 26, 23, that is 73 Freedom of Information Law documents. You're going to refuse to comply with every one. And this is the perfect description of you, Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley. January 24th, 2023. See all these emails up here. The sheriff's office got it. The district attorney's office. January 24th, 2023. Sandra Dorley, district attorney, Todd Baxter, district sheriff. You're freaks. You're freaks at the sheriff's office because sheriff office employees are violently attacking me. Sworn officers of law with a holstered weapon and a badge. Sworn to uphold the law and the common criminals and thugs. You're freaks at the district attorney's office. I can't even find out the name of these freaks that are prosecuting me in silence and have never talked in court that are assigned to every single court appearance. When I appear in court, this assistant district attorney is assigned to that appearance. Who is it, Sandra Dorley? This is why you're a freak, you pathetic diva. I can't even find out the names of my prosecutors. I believe if Attorney General Merrick Garland called you and demanded that you disclose these names to me, you would refuse. And on this here is fanaticism, perjury about Houlihan and violence, about deceiving. I say the same links. Rejection and accountability. This is January 18th. You got it. This is unethical. Do you know why I called it unethical on January 18, 23? Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley? Because you're unethical. And this is going to be the photograph that you'll lie about. I think I have the color photo here. That's what I'm looking for. I think I do. But this is what it says. On January 16th, Todd Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York. This photograph is why you're a fanatic. This photograph is why you're an extremist. This photograph is why you're a liar. This photograph is why the name is $67,000 disgusting hack Shannon Meyer. This photograph is why people hate the police. Christopher Chiles, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 04604. I think I have the color photo here. Yes, I do. I was on it over and over. The great Mike Pompeo of the Central Intelligence Agency will tell you, Todd Baxter, that this is a surveillance device. Todd Baxter, is this private technology at 2025 Penn Row for a business called Consumer Insights, where Elliot Roth's the president and Elliot Roth's copied on this? Or did you buy it and fix it for me? Elliot, you know the answer. I'm going to contact you. Sign for your registered mail return receipt. Elliot, because I'm going to be contacting you when I write the United States Department of Justice about this destruction of my life. I saw myself on it. It was on the phone of the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee. Regina Harper, the Monroe County Public Defender, mailed me the links. Todd Baxter, corruption, crimes, repetition. Is this private technology? That's a surveillance device at 2025 Pamphey Road for a business called Consumer Insights where Elliot Roth is the president. Or did you buy it and fix it for me, you Benito Mussolini skinhead? Has an assigned number called an ICN number. So, January 14, 2023, Jansen McNair returns my mail to me. The Office of Public Integrity is a former employee of the Sheriff's Office to be fired immediately. I'm telling the director of the Office of Public Integrity in Monroe County, the prosecutor's not talking court, I'm going to jail. Being violently attacked by Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, and here comes my mail back to me from Jansen McNair. The blue wall silence at the Sheriff's Office, that's why Jansen McNair, former employee of the Sheriff's Office, returns my mail. Every single one of you employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, the blue wall silence. YouTube corrupt on this January 14th, one of the most basic words described you, Sandra Dorley, Todd Baxter, is corrupt. Rejection and accountability. This is January 12th. You sign for this. It'll be in your office on Monday. This again, accountability, January 10th. This is rejection. You can see all the emails up here. It's saying rejection because I wrote here, comply with the attached PDF dated January 10th, 2023 to 70 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your office via United Postal Service. Mail the information I demand to the address below in Rochester. This includes the names of prosecutor silence. This is on January 10th. It's now February. It's a month later. A month ago, I demanded you disclose Sandra Dorley names of my prosecutor silence. For 18 plus months, I've demanded you disclose the names of my prosecutor silence. You are drenched in corruption, you sick hack, Sandra Dorley. Who doesn't know if she's a Democrat or Republican? She switched parties. Just like Todd Baxter doesn't know if he's a Democrat and Republican because he switched parties because you two say anything freaks are consumed with power. And it doesn't matter that there are radical differences between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Party politics doesn't matter to you. Principles don't matter to you. Beliefs don't matter to you. Ideology doesn't matter to you. What animates a citizen to be a Democrat and what animates a citizen to be a Republican are irrelevant to you two freaks, Sandra Dorley and Todd Baxter. All that matters to you is power. It's January 5th. Comply with attached PDF dated January 5th, 2023. There's 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This is attached PDF will arrive at your office via UPS tomorrow. This is December 26th. Same thing. You received 24 to 48 hours via United Postal Service, 67 Freedom of Information Law documents dated December 26th. You refused. This is December 22nd. The same thing. 67 Freedom of Information Law documents. You were signed for this documentation, and you refused. This is the last one. No, I got two more here, including you, Perry Douglas, January 3rd. It says here in simple language, comply with the attached PDF dated January 3rd, 2023. That is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your office via United Postal Service tomorrow. I demand you disclose the names of my prosecutors. This is Perry Douglas, January 1, 2023. Perry Douglas, I'm going to read this. Before I do, what do you think I'm demanding in here? Do I even have to say it? $144,000, Perry Douglas. Perry Douglas, District Attorney, 47 South Fitzhugh Street, Rochester, New York, 14604, January 1, 2023. Attached to PDF is a 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 20, 2022 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived on December 22nd, 22 and December 26, 22 via UPS. It was tracked. You have it. Print each, bring it to your corrupt post, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. Tell us pathetic accumulation of health afflictions. Send the information to my UPS address listed below. Enclose the names and prosecutors' silence. What's not to understand? I've demanded names on prosecutors' silence for 18 months. I'll be in court again because fellow psychopaths know it takes only one corrupt judge, as Alice runs in New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Metz on Little Pemberton Town Court, to claim me guilty of criminal charges you concoct. A prosecutor's never talked in court for me. Yet I've been in jail 6 times. This fanaticism, hatred at your office that deserves the attention of the United States Department of Justice. You received the same full documentation dated January 1, 2023 and January 3rd, 2023 that compels you to disclose the names of our prosecutor's silence. You will continue to refuse in craven silence. YouTube Foil 61, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, YouTube Laura Riley again, the link there. Reason why my ex-girlfriend Laura Riley, who lived at 3 different residences, is included on. She took all my things to a storage locker in Webster, New York. When I was in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, and everything I own is gone. And she's refusing to tell me the facts and circumstances. From what I've been told by the Tenant Defense Project and others, it takes a court order to remove the possessions of a tenant from the residence, even without a lease. Everything I own is gone because of my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley. And she's refusing to tell me the facts and circumstances, one of my illegal eviction, where I don't know the doors are locked and I'm locked out. I've included documentation I've written to her in what I sent you via UPS that will arrive on Monday. So, and it doesn't matter to you that this is the destruction of a life. It will never matter to you. So this is what I wrote to her. I have known her for 35 years, Laura Riley. I used to think she's an angel. I don't think she's an angel anymore. This is my language to her. This is my language to her because of you revolting sick hack, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and you revolting sick hack, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. I had to write this because of you. Tell me what happened to my illegal eviction. My illegal eviction you participated in refusing to answer questions about. The law requires a court order to remove my personal possessions for 26 Sands from driving Pemberton, New York to a storage locker in Webster, New York. Do you know that fact about the law? You left possessions in a residence. What has happened to me is insane. The question is, 1, what individual called you to come to where we used to live at 26 Sanders from driving Pemberton, New York? Did the dead son, Giuseppe Spano, or the father, Antonino Spano, call you? Did the dead son, Giuseppe Spano, or the father, Antonino Spano, use threatening language? Did the dead son, Giuseppe Spano, father, Antonino Spano, state my personal possession be thrown in trash? What did my sister Barbara say to you about paying for the storage locker? It is insane I have to ask these questions. Our relationship ended. I am forced to demand answers from you because you decided to inject yourself in my life. You decided to be in my life under a sick and delusional belief that you're somehow helping me. I don't know if this is your email. It doesn't have your name and begins ludicrously with, quote, send, end quote. I don't know if you still live at 781 Winford Drive in Webster, New York. I don't know why you refused to respond to some questions. I do know that you exist in a state of indifference and decency, despite the fact we live in 3 different residences together. What's my name? Where am I from? How long have you known me? Contact me at the address on Park Avenue below with the answers to these questions. Sign for your registered mail return receipt. When it arrives from me, you are not recognizable. And then YouTube, where I say for Laura Riley. Again, YouTube for Laura Riley. I'm learning at least twice about her. Christopher Child says 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, New York. It is a crime to remove my personal possessions from my former residence, 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, without a court order. And so when I demand that the father, Antonino Spano, be arrested for doing this to me, Antonino Spano's not going to be arrested. At the George Costanza District Attorney's Office, where the opposite is the truth. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right is wrong. Wrong is right. That's you. At the District Attorney's Office. Antonino Spano called my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, and said to her words to the effect, if you don't come and get all the personal possessions of your ex-boyfriend, Chris Chichester, out of the residence, I'm going to throw his personal possessions away. And then my ex-girlfriend went to the residence and took everything I own out of the residence to a storage locker, but not everything is in the storage locker because she threw things out. I had over 1,000 books. Every one of my books is gone. This is all being done without a court order. So when I write the criminal complaint about Antonino Spano smashing me into a million little pieces with an eviction by moving all my things out of my residence to a storage locker, Antonino Spano's not going to be arrested. When I write the criminal complaint about my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, participating in this crime, my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, is not going to be arrested because you don't know what a crime is at the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office. And that's why you're a joke. So I'm going to contact Lollipop Farm Humane Society soon about how you came to my arrest, the man, my little guy. I will write a criminal complaint about Nayraj Shah and Layla Kumar Shah going to the sheriff's office for me walk through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times, which is false reporting an incident. You have that documentation in your office for me about them. It's not a criminal complaint. It's about the arrest warrant for me in walking through the parking lot because Layla Kumar Shah and Nayraj Shah went to then $67,000 Shannon Meyer, and that leads to the arrest warrant for me walk through a parking lot, but not an arrest warrant for my excellent friend Adam who lives next to me, not the elderly woman across the street from me, not Penfield High School students, because they all walk through the parking lot too. It's only an arrest warrant for me walking through the parking lot. And you gave this freak, Shannon Meyer, a $16,000 raise. Because of Layla Kumar and Nayraj Shah, the reason why I'm holding this up, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office came to my residence to demand my dog. So it's Layla Kumar and Nayraj Shah falsely reporting an incident and going to the sheriff's office, me walk through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. I talked to my little guy from Lollipop Farm Humane Society when I lived in Webster with my then girlfriend, Laura Riley. Then we moved to Penfield because she's hired at the Penfield Public Library, where I don't know, down the hall from the entrance to the library is Penfield Town Court. 4,000 times for 7 years, I've walked my little guy behind my residence. One day, the back window flies open, and a woman is screaming at me. I don't know what that is. I bring my little guy in. I walk over to 2033 Penfield Road. I demand to speak to this Layla Kumar and Nayraj Shah. We're not there. And the woman who's screaming at me refuses to talk to me. So the woman who's screaming at me like a psychopath tells me to leave, and I do. Layla Kumar and Nayraj Shah either are not there or don't want to talk to me. An hour later, there's that psychotic pounding on my front door where there are two Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees. I open it. With Penfield Animal Control, this vicious confrontation, you Benito Mussolini skinhead, with two of your Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, and one phone call in less than an hour, they are at my front door demanding my little guy. Do you not know, Sheriff Todd Baxter, how citizens that own dogs love their dogs? And you're not that special or unique because you love your dog. It's the way it's supposed to be. I set up my front door. You have to kill me to take my little guy from me. I walked back to his dog bed my mother and father bought for me. I picked him up, and he was shaking on my shoulder. This is why people hate the police, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. And I don't know who these two freaks are. Your entire Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Jonestown, Sheriff Todd Baxter, are freaks. So, this is the Monroe County Sheriff's Office part-time rates. How many of these part-time employees are the children of Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees? So I'm going to encourage Thomas P. DiNapoli to ask you. So in all the things that is taken to a storage locker I no longer own, and this is not narcissism I'm engaging in. I ran a 5K in Comsell Park, and this is me. I went to Target in Penfield, and before this race, and I looked at these red, white, and blue shorts, and I thought, that's so me. That's gone. That number, that white singlet, the red, white, and blue shorts that I love to wear in this race. I think I was 15th or 16th in this race. It's a real cross-country course. I don't have this because of my ex-girlfriend and because of Antonino Spano, Fairport, New York. So when Ryan Fisher being in Atlanta, Georgia, Todd Baxter, and Michael Fowler, Korey Brown being in Saratoga, your employees are constantly in places where they shouldn't be, just like at Wegmans. I'm going into Fairport. Here he comes driving right by me. They're at Wegmans alongside this terrific business owned by Danny and Colleen Wegman every day. It's a disgrace. Every day I would see them because I would go into Gold's Gym in Fairport to work out, and I love going over that lift bridge. Or I'd go to Can's Pizza, I'd go to Target or Wegmans. There's other things I'm doing because it's so close to where I live. I could get there in 5 minutes. And everything I need to do in Penfield is either at that Wegmans or at that Target or right there in that area. And I would see them constantly. They are constantly at this Wegmans, your employees, instead of being on Penfield Road policing the road. Why? It has an answer. Because you're corrupt. Your employees are at Wegmans. You got Korey Brown and Michael Fowler in Saratoga. Ryan Fisher's in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm demanding every single penny spent by you, Todd Baxter, for your employees to leave Monroe County. Because if Korey Brown and Michael Fowler are in Saratoga and Ryan Fisher is in Atlanta, Georgia, your employees are going out of Monroe County on junkets all the time, including you, Todd Baxter, because you testified before the House Rules Committee. This is why you're a joke. As I am a former House Senate employee, and I worked on health for 5 years, I know the House Rules Committee, which has enormous power, is a procedural committee that establishes the rules for legislation introduced on the floor of the House. And this includes debate. It has nothing to do with law enforcement, such as the Judiciary Committee. If you're going to be in Washington, D.C., you Benito Mussolini skinhead, you should testify before the House Judiciary Committee or its 5 subcommittees. And there you are at the House Rules Committee, because this is what I think happened, and I'll never know. You wanted to go to Washington, D.C. Perhaps you contacted a local congressman or the local office for Senator Kirsten Gillibrand or Senator Chuck Schumer, and you're trying to invite yourself to Washington, D.C. I believe, Sheriff Todd Baxter, you invited yourself to Washington, D.C., and someone there on the Hill decided who was the city sheriff, and they were just going to deposit you in front of the House Rules Committee. I'm going to say this again for you, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. The House Rules Committee has nothing, zero to do with law enforcement, ever. It's a committee that establishes the rules for when legislation is introduced on the floor of the House of Representatives, where I have been over and over and over. It has nothing to do with law enforcement, the House Rules Committee. How much did you pay to go to the House Rules Committee? You cannot control your sick, corrupt compulsions. And your sick, corrupt compulsions include leaving Monroe County. There's no reason for you ever to be in Washington, D.C. Todd Baxter. So, this is the parking lot next to where I used to live. So today it's 5 minutes after 12. I would imagine 10 people walked this parking lot already. None of them are going to be arrested. Neeraj Shah and Layla Kumar Shah, who went to the sheriff's office and walked this parking lot, and there's my neighbor with his dog, will not be arrested. This is false reporting an incident. It doesn't get any better for me for a crime of false reporting an incident than 10, 15, 20 people a day walk through this parking lot, and they're going to the sheriff's office claiming I'm committing a crime by walking through this parking lot, but not anybody else. And where's my 14th Amendment right to equal protection laws? I'll tell you where my 14th Amendment right to equal protection laws is, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. You obliterated it. And the obliteration of my life began with this parking lot right here, where you can see my neighbor walking through it with his dog. So, corruption requires repetition. So this is the registered mail return receipt. You got it. This is stamped February 9th. This is going to arrive on February 13th. So what's going to arrive to James McNair, Director of Public Integrity, James B. Mully, Pembroke Town Court, Paul C. Metzer, Pembroke Town Court, Lisa Preston, New York State Supreme Court, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Trinity Ross, United States Attorney, Lisa Gray, Counsel to the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Michelle Crowley, Counsel Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Dorley, District Attorney, Todd Baxter, Sandra Dorley. What's going to arrive already arrived. And it already arrived because here it is, the green card should come back to me. All those names I read are here. In that documentation, I'm demanding you disclose the names of my prosecutors of silence. Lisa Gray, Counsel to the District Attorney. Go to the files, if there are files, at the District Attorney's Office. Contact me, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604, and Lisa Gray. Disclose the names of my prosecutors. There's one of them, Julie Hahn, who's now in Monroe County Court, who's not the victim. She's in second place. It is a disgrace, these laws that allow a judge to be on a court who, one, is not the victor, and two, is not even remotely close to 50% of the vote. 40% is understandable. It's a multi-candidate field. Alex Renzi, who you're forcing me into in New York State Supreme Court, is on that court with 24% of the vote. Do you think that's a disgrace? Do you think that's a joke? Do you think that law needs to be changed? The District Attorney's Office is going to tell you what the answer is. The answer is yes. Richard J. Seaman violently attacked me, Todd Baxter, $61.39. I'm going to tell you, after I tell you the names of the prosecutors again, documentation for the case for Christopher Charles for John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Pembroke Town Court was named the prosecutor. It's sent to January 28th. Documentation for the case for Christopher Charles for Paul C. Metzer Pembroke Town Court was named the prosecutor, Sandra Dorley. Documentation for the case for Christopher Charles, New York State Supreme Court by Alex Renzi was named the prosecutor, Sandra Dorley. 128. Now, the reason why I hold up that check, this check here. I walk into Pembroke Public Library. Richard J. Seaman and his partner stalk me into the library. Seaman runs at me, slams me in the head with his arm. I fell down. My head hit the ceramic tile. The partner with Seaman kicked me when I was down on the floor. I'm picked up, frog marched out of the library, and there's Paul C. Metzer waiting for me. You, Paul C. Metzer, responsible for this violent attack upon me. And then I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, where subsequently told by a Livingston County Jail employee that I would not be safe at Monroe County Jail. Not from the inmates. From the Monroe County Sheriff Office employees that work at the jail. I've talked here about how I was attacked by a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee at the jail. So, Richard J. Seaman, in my pocket, I have this $61.39 check, $61.39 check, pardon me. So, Todd Baxter, Freedom of Information Law, same FOIL on demanding names of my prosecutors. This is 2 weeks ago, January 28th. The issuance of a new check to Christopher Childs, the address below, for an expired check in the amount of $61.39 from the County of Monroe Office of Sheriff Inmate Fund account, because that's the dollar amount in the pocket of Christopher Childs when he was violently attacked at the Pembroke Public Library, $75,004 Richard Seaman of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Call Richard J. Seaman into your office, Todd Baxter, and ask him about what I just said. Ask him this. If he's sitting in front of you, ask him simply, did you walk to the Pembroke Public Library and attack a citizen? Or, was there violence in the Pembroke Public Library when you were in uniform at the Pembroke Public Library? You're not going to do any of this because you're the blue wall silence. It's acceptable to you when your employees commit violent crimes and attack innocent citizens. Frank Serpico of the New York City Police Department first disclosed the blue wall of silence, and he was ostracized by his fellow New York City police officers. I had a member of my family who was a New York City police officer for 27 years. And he would use language I cannot state here for what he thinks about Frank Serpico. And that's the way police officers think. Police officers who report or disclose crimes committed by other police officers are ostracized. And the code, the ethos of every police officer, including at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, is the blue wall silence. I'd like to know your answer, Todd Baxter. Somebody asked you, when you were in Greece, before you were Monroe County Sheriff's Office, sheriff, did you see police officers commit violent crimes and innocent citizens? It's that simple. What would your answer be, Todd Baxter? I'm going to tell you what your answer would be. The blue wall silence. So, what are Korey Brown and Michael Fowler doing in Saratoga, New York, Todd Baxter? Korey Brown, 155, 366, 64 cents. How was he paid 64 cents? Michael T. Fowler, 163, 877, 48 cents. I think Thomas P. DiNapoli, the controller of the state in New York, when he looks at this and he sees that your employee, Michael T. Fowler, is paid $31,000 more than you, I believe that he will reach a conclusion that you're fleecing taxpayers, Todd Baxter. Nobody elected Michael Fowler to anything. $31,000 more than you. Nobody elected Korey Brown to anything. $23,000 more than you. All it takes is me turning the page and I'll find somebody else that's either at your salary or making more money than you. And yes, all I had to do was turn a page. This is Maurice Leone. Maurice Leone's paid $163,877.47. So he also is paid $31,000 more than you. Michael T. Fowler and Maurice Leone are paid the exact same salary of $163,877.48, and both are paid $31,000 more than you. You decided to pay these employees $31,000 more than you. So, do you have the children of Monroe County Sheriff Office employees on payroll, Todd Baxter? District Attorney Sandra Dorley, who is it? This is your payroll? My prosecutors of silence are on here. Who is it? Perry Duckles, $113,918. Who is it, Perry Duckles? I've contacted you over and over. And you're going to refuse to disclose this information to me. And it's an absolute and total disgrace. I believe that if Trinity Ross, the United States Attorney, contacted you, this is her, you would still refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors. The reason why I'm demanding names of my prosecutors is that they should be disbarred. So this is the Freedom of Information Law you've received over and over and over in the last 6 weeks. You sign for it. When I say you sign for it, card comes back to me, and you refused every time. That's the United States Postal Service, UPS, which is going to arrive on Monday. That's how many times I've gone to UPS. That's the tracking. That's what this is. So, employees of the District Attorney's Office, one of you freaks is doing this to me. One of you freaks is responsible for the destruction of my life where I'm being prosecuted in silence. Who is it, District Attorney Sandra Dorley? Who is it, Perry Duckles of the District Attorney's Office? Because my own public defenders, Mark Phillips and Regina Harper of the Monroe County Public Defender, refused to tell me, which is insane. So, prosecutors talk in court and make an argument against the accused. So Todd Baxter, Michael Fowler, and Korey Brown, 163-877-48, Korey Brown, 155-36664. What are they doing out of Monroe County and in Saratoga? A training conference? What is the purpose of it? What type of training? They just wanted to be out of Monroe County. They didn't want to do their jobs. Your employees, Michael Fowler and Korey Brown, when they're in Saratoga, New York, are refusing to do their jobs as Monroe County Sheriff Office employees. And you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, allowed Michael Fowler and Korey Brown to not do their jobs as Monroe County Sheriff Office employees. And that's a reason why you're corrupt. So, the Freedom of Information Law will arrive at your offices on Monday on demanding information. And you will continue to refuse to provide me with the information I'm demanding using the legally binding document that's the Freedom of Information Law to include my prosecutor's silence. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I'm an innocent man.